promoting a healthy environment. It's the air we breathe. Clean, safe water. Responsible management of our natural resources. We protect and restore for a sustainable future. Environment matters.
I never anticipated being an engineer in the automotive industry until I started working on this program. So I always kind of liked cars. I always knew how to change my oil, change my tire, simple things like that. But then I kind of joined this program and it essentially just took my life over, and I couldn't be happier about it.
A team of students at West Virginia University is racing towards the finish line of a 4-year competition to design and build a high-performance, high-efficiency hybrid car. We'll check in with the team as they prepare for the final stages of the competition later this spring in California. Plus,
project should start May the 1st and run through the end of the year. That's the grant program. So we're really excited to see what happens in late spring and summer with some of these projects.
we'll tell you about a grant program that supports innovative, community-based environmental projects that improve, restore, and protect watersheds, and pay a visit to one of last year's recipients to see it in action. Hello everyone, and welcome to a new season of Environment Matters. I'm Jake Glantz. Water from an abandoned mine in Fayette County combined with heavy rainfall caused a mudslide that briefly closed Route 60 between Smithers and Boomer. Crews from the Division of Highways cleared the road within a day, but finding a permanent fix to stabilize the hillside is going to be a much more complicated project. The DEP's Mike Huff explains.
Traffic is once again moving along this busy stretch of US 60. A mudslide back on February 28th briefly closed the road after water, which had been pooling inside an abandoned mine at the top of the hill, caused the hillside to slip, sending a stream of mud, rocks, and trees to the road below.
Water's built up in the number 2 gas mine works about 500 feet up on the hill. The water came out, saturated the hillside. The upper part of the hill started moving. It has come down through Eagle Seam Works and then continued on to US 60. There are actually 2 separate seams mined by the same company. Number 2 gas was mined up until 1944. The Eagle Seam was mined from 1914 up until the 80s. This particular section of the mine was mined out in 1918.
The DEP's Abandoned Mine Lands and Reclamation Program is handling this as an emergency project, one of about 30 such problem sites the AML program has to deal with statewide during an average year.
Because AML sites are dynamic, they're always changing. What might be a stable, low priority site today after a freeze-thaw cycle or a rain event, that site may become an emergency situation or a high priority site that suddenly bumps itself to the top of our reclamation list.
The AML program estimates there's roughly $4.5 billion worth of reclamation work needed to address all the problems associated with abandoned mine sites in the state. And that doesn't include underground mine voids like this one.
So even if all the physical features were abated today, and so all the high walls, all the portals, all the vertical openings were reclaimed 100% today, the fact that we have mine voids would still present a problem for the state of West Virginia. Those mine voids would continue to present us with subsidence problems, mine blowouts, acid mine drainage, and landslides. So those are the features and those are the conditions that cause emergency situations every year.
To give you an idea of the size of the problem, the DEP's AML program estimates that underground mine voids in West Virginia contain more water than all the surface lakes and impoundments around the state combined. AML budgets about $4 million each year just to take care of emergencies like the Smithers slip. So far, there's no word on how much this project will cost.
Our current proposal, and it's in the very early stages, we still have to do a little more investigation, but we're going to start at the number 2 gas seam, which are the 1944 works. We're going to excavate down the rock, attempt to capture all the drainage there. We will continue excavating the rock down to approximately the Eagle seam. We'll have to do a little bit of work there to clean up around the entries and some of the old works. And then at that point, we'll reduce the amount of excavation down to just the amount needed to get the lower portion of the slide stabilized.
But it's more involved than bringing in a bunch of bulldozers and excavators and starting to move dirt. For one thing, there's the historic significance of the site.
The entries into the Eagle seam are actually cut stone archway. It's dated 1918 in the stone. The mine number 113 is also engraved in the stone at the keystone. The entryway itself is about 20 feet wide by 25 feet high. Fairly ornate to be a coal mine entry. There's also cut stone approach walls, cut stone stairwells, and other features that contribute to its eligibility for the National Register for Historic Places. So with all that said, we had to enter formal consultation in order to move forward with the project in case we have to remove contributing features or the primary features themselves.
And then there are concerns with bat habitat in the old mine works and preventing sediment and runoff from the site work from impacting aquatic life, specifically mussels, in the nearby Kanawha River. Finally, there's the issue of traffic on US 60 once the work begins.
Division of Highways has asked us to use temporary flaggers so we can reopen the road at night. We are going to attempt that, but if we're unable to keep the road open at night, we will put up temporary signals and have one-lane traffic all the time so that traffic is maintained.
Once the work begins, the project is expected to take about 6 months to complete. In Smithers, I'm Mike Huff for Environment Matters.
As of today's taping, no start date for the project has been announced. The DEP recently hosted several groups of college students interested in environmental issues. This group is from Wheeling Jesuit, Creighton, and Loyola of Chicago. They sat down with DEP representatives for an informal discussion on how the agency regulates the oil, gas, and coal industries. The group spent about an hour asking questions to staff from the agency's Office of Oil and Gas and the Division of Mining and Reclamation. The group was part of an energy immersion trip organized by the Appalachian Institute at Wheeling Jesuit University, a week-long trip to explore energy-related environmental issues in Appalachia. The DEP's annual Adopt a Highway Spring Cleanup is scheduled for April 28th. The event is co-sponsored with the Division of Highways. The Adopt a Highway program was established in the 1980s to improve the quality of our environment by encouraging public involvement in the elimination of litter along West Virginia highways. Every year, hundreds of volunteer groups remove tons of litter from roadsides. Besides the annual cleanups, the program aims to raise public awareness of the consequences of littering and the harm it causes to the environment and wildlife. If you'd like more information or to volunteer for an upcoming cleanup or find an existing group in your area, contact us at dep.aah@wv.gov. Volunteers must be at least 12 years old to participate. The DEP provides gloves, trash bags, and litter grabbers and arranges for trash pickup. Volunteers are encouraged to recycle items they find whenever possible. Spring also means it's time for the DEP's tire collection program to get into high gear. Besides being an eyesore, used tires improperly disposed of in illegal dumps create an environmental and health hazard. To prevent that, the DEP holds tire collection events at least once a year in all 55 counties. West Virginia residents can drop off up to 10 unwanted tires, car and light truck tires only, and they must be off the rim. You'll need to show ID to confirm your residency in West Virginia. Several events have already been scheduled. You can check our website, dep.wv.gov, to see when one is scheduled near you. In racing circles, the 24 Hours of Le Mans is considered the pinnacle of endurance, where winning is often determined not only by who has the fastest car, but by which team can avoid mistakes or overcome a crippling mechanical failure. Now imagine that level of concentration in a competition that runs 4 years. The DEP's Brianna Hickman joins us now with the details.
Jake, it's called the EcoCar 3 Advanced Vehicle Technology Competition, and it goes something like this. Take a well-known performance car, the Chevrolet Camaro, and develop and integrate energy-efficient technologies into the powertrain that maximize performance, all while retaining the safety and build quality standards of the original. West Virginia University is one of 16 teams now approaching the finish line, and with the checkered flag almost in sight, they're looking for a podium finish.
Start up.
It's down to the wire. The hard work of 4 years of design, mock-up, fabrication, testing, evaluation, and refinement is almost finished. WVU entered the final year of the competition in 4th place among 16 schools, and team members are looking to finish strong.
We're striving to win, so we're not holding back at all. It's not like we're sitting in a comfortable spot. We're pushing forward, trying to do every little bit that we think the other teams will be doing.
I am cautiously optimistic that we will finish at least as well, if not better, than we did last year. We have a really, really good car by competition standards, and we've been told so by many of the organizers that we really like your car. You guys have done and built a very good vehicle. And I think a lot of them have been surprised because we weren't in the last competition.
With an earlier generation of performance cars, powertrain upgrades were a fairly straightforward process. For modern cars with their multitude of vehicle-specific sensors and computer controls, simply dropping a more powerful engine under the hood isn't all that simple.
One of the main design decisions we made with our vehicle was to remove the V6, the original stock V6 Camaro, or stock V6 engine from the Camaro, and put in the 4-cylinder from the Equinox in order to improve fuel economy and decrease overall emissions, burn less fuel. Basically tricking all the computers in the vehicle to convince the entire Camaro that there is a 2016 engine in the car when there's in reality a 2014 engine in the car, and vice versa. So having to convince the engine that there's a 2014 car surrounding it. That's posed the most significant problem for us.
And then there's the car's electric motor and battery system. You see, this Camaro is a hybrid. The addition of a powerful electric motor brings the performance back to the level of the stock V6. Getting all those specialized components to work together consistently has not been easy.
One of the most challenging things is doing the diagnosis. I mean, doing diagnostics and stuff. There's a lot of little quirks and things with our car because it's not a stock car. We have a lot of aftermarket or non-regular items on the vehicle, and sometimes it's complicated to trace down everything to figure out what's actually going wrong with the vehicle.
But this is more than just an engineering exercise. Part of the competition is producing a vehicle that buyers would want to purchase.
Going into year 4, we really move into the refinement stage and getting into the consumer appeal aspect of the car. So we started with just aesthetics, painting the car. We'll work into the ride quality and drive quality of it, how it feels on the road, how it deals with imperfections in the roads, which is very common in West Virginia, unfortunately, but we definitely make note of it. And then also just lightening up the car to help with the performance aspect and just overall customer satisfaction.
Probably the most significant part of this exercise, or this engineering exercise as a program as a whole, is evaluating design decisions. You have to really open your eyes and see the entire scope of the work that you're doing. It's also very interdisciplinary too, so being able to work with engineers from other disciplines like mechanical, industrial, all those sorts of different fields, taking into consideration safety. So all these components that you're putting in the vehicle, you're putting a driver in the driver's seat. So you have to think about every single design decision that you make needs to reflect the importance of safety for the consumer.
These days, most of the driving is done on a dynamometer, a device the car is secured to while a set of rollers under the rear wheels provides rolling resistance, measuring speed, distance, and power output.
We're in the process of trying to log miles on the vehicle. They want to make sure that this year especially, that these vehicles can get out and do all of the dynamic testing they need to do, and eventually compete in an over-the-road event where we're going to actually drive around the Los Angeles area for several hundred miles as a convoy of several convoys of Camaros painted all different colors. And so we have to do what's called an endurance drive. And we're expected by the end of March to log 1,000 miles on the car since August, and to log a 100-mile endurance test and a 200-mile endurance test. And those tests aren't just driving. We have to take data from the vehicle, thermal systems, all of the controls information. You have to read the controller area network or CAN data, and then look at energy consumption, because the whole idea is if you're going to break something, break it now.
And that's the hands-on problem-solving experience that you can't get in a classroom.
That's probably one of the largest differences between a classroom setting and a program like this is you get that true experience of you're putting something onto the vehicle that you're going to be driving. So you have to there's a level of importance there in evaluating the strength of your design decisions and essentially the robustness of the functionality of whatever you're developing.
And it's that experience that is the measure of the value of this program.
This program, I've learned a lot more than I ever thought I would, being the faculty advisor. And so that's one of the things that surprised me. Another thing I think that's really surprised me is over the last few years is how passionate some of the students really are about this program. Matt, for instance, came on as our engineering manager, a year and a half ago, and to see these students mature and learn a lot, but the passion they have and the ownership they take of the program and how proud they are to talk about and be associated with these programs, I don't think I really understood that aspect of it, because I knew students would do this for more than a grade, but I didn't realize how passionate some of the students would be.
A program like this gives students ample opportunity to explore the incredible amount of engineering that goes into the automotive industry. I mean, that I think alone is probably the biggest eye-opening part of this whole program. For me personally, I actually received an offer from General Motors to begin working with them in August. So I will be making a career out of the automotive industry. I never anticipated being an engineer in the automotive industry until I started working on this program.
Up next for the team, stops at the General Motors Desert Proving Ground in Yuma, Arizona, and the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, where NASCAR races, for a series of dynamic tests and then finally on to Los Angeles for the finals. For Environment Matters, I'm Brianna Hickman.
Thank you, Brianna. Dr. Nick says they're already working on a proposal for the next as yet unnamed competition. Working with community-based groups to have a positive impact on watersheds is the aim of a grant program administered by West Virginia American Water. Every year, the company awards $10,000 in grants to groups like the Capital District of the West Virginia Conservation Agency, one of last year's recipients. The Capital District's soil tunnel trailer is a big hit with students and educators alike. The trailer, seen here at last year's DEP Youth Environmental Conference, gives folks a 3D look at what's going on just below the surface. Last year's $2,500 award helps get the soil tunnel trailer into more places.
It actually means a lot to our program, but more than that, it means a lot to the schools in our region. Because oftentimes when the schools do want to have a visit from the soil tunnel trailer, there's not always the funding available. And unfortunately, it does cost money to keep the unit on the road. So with the West Virginia American Water Environmental Grant, we were able to stretch that out into 25 different schools in $100 scholarships for each school.
Besides the soil tunnel trailer, grants have gone to fund things like watershed protection and cleanup. wetland development, trout in the classroom, and environmental education opportunities at places like Marshall University. Basically, any project that addresses a watershed or source water protection need in a community within an American Water Service area is eligible to apply.
So if groups are interested in applying for the environmental grant, it is open every year in that February to March range. We usually close that out at the end of March. And so groups can find out about that program through our website, which is westvirginiaamwater.com. And we're always looking for new and exciting projects to be a part of. And so anything from trainings and education to actually getting out and doing cleanup projects and wetland development and things like that, always looking for new and different exciting projects going on in West Virginia.
We combined the West Virginia American Water Environmental Grant with the DEP's Litter Control Grant for our water wall. One thing that's very important to all of us with the Conservation Agency, West Virginia American Water, and the DEP is clean water. And when we find litter, ultimately that litter flows into our waterways, into our watersheds. And it can not only cause pollution, non-point source pollution, but it can back up the creeks. It can cause flooding. So we focus a lot on where is the appropriate place for you to dispose of certain items.
Applications for this year's grant program have closed, but it's not too early for interested groups to start working on next year's application. This year's grant recipients will be announced in mid-April.
Projects should start May the 1st and run through the end of the year. That's the grant program. So we're really excited to see what happens in late spring and summer with some of these projects.
As Megan mentioned, to find out more about applying for an environmental grant, visit their website, westvirginiaamwater.com. World Water Day was March 22nd, and the DEP encouraged middle school students across the state to take the classroom challenge. The theme for 2018 is Nature for Water, where nature-based solutions are considered to address 21st century water issues. Students were asked to help examine urban stormwater runoff pollution and research nature-based solutions like permeable pavement, rain barrels, and urban rain gardens that could help reduce the amount of pollutants entering West Virginia's waterways. World Water Day was created by the UN to bring attention to water-related issues worldwide. It's held every year on March 22nd. Learning about science, business, trades, and possible future careers is the purpose of more than 135 merit badges available to be earned in the Boy Scouts of America. The DEP's Brianna Hickman joins us now with a story about one of the recent additions, sustainability.
Jake, the Sustainability Merit Badge made its debut at the 2013 National Jamboree here in West Virginia. We caught up with some local scouts that are working on earning theirs and found out what sustainability means to them.
A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
And for this group of scouts, you can add sustainable.
We've learned that we need to start using more recyclable materials and how we don't have like an unlimited amount of resources on Earth.
So by conserving energy, I just turn off all the lights that I'm not using. If I leave a room, I turn off the lights. Conserving water, you just don't use as much. Turn off the water when you brush your teeth, and don't just turn on the faucet to be turning it on.
Barrett and Josiah are two members of Troop 31 in Charleston learning about sustainability. Scouts working on this merit badge begin and end the process by meeting with their families to figure out how to live more sustainably and complete projects involving things like water and energy conservation, waste reduction, and climate change. Sustainability is a major emphasis at the Summit Bechtel Reserve, the Boy Scouts West Virginia Adventure Base, which features, among other things, the Sustainability Treehouse, which offers a variety of hands-on activities and displays, including solar and wind power and sustainable design. And if these scouts are any indication, the message of sustainable living is getting through loud and clear.
Well, at my grandparents' house, I'm turning off the light as soon as I walk out of a room. They're very strict about it.
The things I don't use anymore that can be given away, we might donate to Goodwill, and just turning off faucets and make sure there's no leaky faucets can save the water.
If the environment isn't healthy, we aren't going to be either.
And Jake, to show how much weight the Boy Scouts put on the subject, the Sustainability Merit Badge is now one of the requirements to reach the rank of Eagle Scout. For Environment Matters, I'm Brianna Hickman.
Thank you, Brianna. The DEP now has a new social media presence. You can find us on Facebook. Just search DEPWV. Several groups within DEP, like the Youth Environmental Program and Project WET, were already on Facebook, but our new page consolidates them and adds all kinds of new material, so look us up and give us a like. And finally, you may have noticed a few changes we've made since last season, and you're probably wondering, where's Greg? Well, after a long career here at the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, Greg decided to retire last year. He was Chief Sustainability Officer here at the DEP and a part of this program since its very beginning. We miss him and the passion he brought to the project, and we wish him all the best as he begins this new chapter. So, from the archives, for one last time,
we leave you now at Valley Falls State Park near Fairmont, where the redbud trees are in bloom. On behalf of all of us at the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
More than 800 people with one mission, promoting a healthy environment. We are the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection.